अद्य अस्माकं सन्धि इति अभ्यासवर्गस्य प्रथमं मेलनम्. Sanskrite, so we'll use a mixture of Sanskrit and English as appropriate for level of understanding. So if anybody does not understand any part during the class, please feel free, or I would say you should ask, should unmute your line and ask the question about the doubt you have there. But if you have got additional questions, please keep it towards the end of the session, like related questions or additional questions you have about the subject, that can be taken up near the end of the session is hour. So, but if you have got, when explaining, if you do not understand any word or the concept, please unmute and interrupt and ask.
Namaste Mahodaya, Girija here.
Namaskara. So we'll look at the concept of Sandhi. Sandhi itukte kim? संस्कृते सन्धिविषयः इति प्रधानविषयः वर्तते अभ्यासकाले. संस्कृतस्य संस्कृतभाषायाः अवगमनार्थं सन्धिः तथा समासः इति विषयद्वयम् आवश्यकं भवति. केवलं सामान्य सुलभ संभाषणार्थम अथवा अर्वाचीन पुस्तकानि यानि सन्ति इदानीं L1 अथवा आरम्भिक पठनार्थं तत्र प्रायः सन्धिप्रयोगः अथवा समासप्रयोगः न भवति, न दृश्यते. परन्तु तदनन्तरम् अग्रिमसोपानं भवति. यथा किमपि भवतु, श्लोकः भवतु रामायणे अपि अथवा सुभाषितं भवतु अथवा कश्चन ग्रन्थः भवतु, भाष्यग्रन्थः भवतु, तत्र सर्वत्र सन्धिः तु भवति एव, अवश्यं भवति. इति सन्धिविषयक अभ्यासः अत्यन्तम् आवश्यकः वर्तते. It is very important, Sandhi. So, to begin with, we'll start with Ganesha prayer as usual. Ganesha Vignaharta, Vignanivaraka, Prathamarchataha iti prasiddhaः. Vasumati Bhagini, कृपया श्लोकं पठतु.
अगजानन पद्मार्कं गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदं तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तम् उपास्महे. पदविच्छेदमपि
न पदविच्छेदं न इदानीं. श्लोकः गणेशवन्दना. अत्र अस्मिन् श्लोकेऽपि अगजानन पद्मार्कं गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदं तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तम् उपास्महे. तत्रापि सन्धिः बहुत्र अत्र कृतः अस्ति. सन्धिः अत्र पदविच्छेदनं पश्यामश्चेत् अगजाननपद्मार्कं गजाननम् अहर्निशम् अनेकदं तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तम् उपास्महे इति पदविच्छेदनम् इत्युक्ते पदानां खण्डनम्. एकैकं पदम् अत्र पृथक् दर्शितम् अस्ति. So they are shown here separately here. Agajana Padmarkam Gajanana. Actually this Padavichchedanam is not technically correct. I had posted this on my blog long back, 2016. So here actually the real padam, the actual padam asti padmarkam. Tatra padmarkam iti bhavet tatra padmarkam. So after sandhi happens, it changes to anuswara. This is a makara and anuswara. In gajananam, aharnisham, anekadam, here also there is ma. And tam, here also there is ma at the end, not anuswara. So these are this is the way. So in what we are doing in the Padacchetanam, given any vakyam, any shloka, we are decomposing it or splitting the words and putting them separately, showing the words separately here. So that is Padavichchedanam. So yatra Padavichchedanam bhavati tada sandhihi avashyam darshaniya bhavati. So you should show the sandhis also here. So this is one example. I just you take any shloka, for example, atra Ramayanasya prathama sargah, prathama kandam, balakandam, atra prathama sargah, atrapi tapaswadhyaya niratam tapasvi vagvedam varam naradam paripapracha valmikir munipungavam. Atrapi bahutra sandhihi atrapi drishyate. Yatha, if you see at the bottom here, there is a separation, word separation, which is shown here. Tapasvi, tapaswadhyaya niratam. Tapasvi is one word. And first here you see here, tapaha. Tapaha is the word there. Tapaha. Are you able to see my writing? No.
No, Mahodaya. We cannot see your writing.
No, we can't see.
No, Mahodaya.
One sec, let me check what happened. Big band content. Tapaha.
Yes.
So here tapaha plus swadhyaya.
Should we write?
Huh? Where? No. I am writing here. You can just watch. If you want to take down notes, you can take down notes. That's up to you. Tapaha swadhyaya. So here also there is a separation here. Tapaha plus swadhyaya. Together it becomes tapas swadhyaya. So this visarga becomes tapas. So it becomes tapas. Tapas swadhyaya. Niratam. So here also there is anuswara. Actually the word is niratam, tapasvi, vagvedam, varam, naradam, paripapracha. And here the last one, valmikir munipungavam. So here also valmiki is a ekaha shabdaha, valmiki. And then there is a munipungavam. Is another word. So and together here becomes it becomes Valmikir Munipungavam. So to understand any shloka, another example if you can see any shloka, remember, right? Like here, Vishwam Vishnur Vashatkaro Bhutavavya Bhavat Prabhu in the Vishnu Sahasranamam. Also you see here Vishwam, here there is a Sandhi. There is a makara over there, changing to anuswara. Vishnu, there is a visarga Vishnu. Then ashatkaraha is there, but it is changing to ashatkaro. Bhuta, bhavya, bhavat, prabhu. So here there is no sandhi in between, all together one single word. Tadanantaram bhutakrit. Bhutakrit is there. Here it becomes bhutakrit bhuta. Bhutakrit is one word. Then bhutakrit is second word, bhutakrit. Then bhavaha. Then bhavaha, tasya parivartanam bhavati bhavo. Anantaram bhutatma, bhutabhavanaha. These are the words. Now, understanding sandhi is extremely important, because then only we will be able to understand where to split, how to split the words. And if we are not splitting the words correctly, then the then the meaning may be not correct. Arthasya anartha bhavati. So splitting is very important. First, to understand the meaning itself. Splitting is important. If you don't know how to split, for example, if you go back to Ramayanam, tapaswadhyaya niratam. So if you don't know how many words are in this, which are separate words, are there actually separate words or not? So if you don't know that, then understanding the meaning is difficult. So it's important to be able to split. That is one, the ability to split. Second one is correctly splitting it. Now, in some cases, it could be possible that there could be multiple ways of splitting. That is another vaishishtyam, athva speciality of the Sanskrit language, that these words, when they are joined by sandhis, there could be possible, it is possible it could be split in multiple ways. So if we don't know to split it correctly, then arthasya anartha bhavitum arhati. Yatha the one, atra, if you take this one, avyayah purushah sakshi kshetrajño kshara eva cha. Here kshetrajño kshara, here there is this yes symbol is there. Yes symbol is known as avagraha chinnam, avagraha. But that is not mandatory. And mandatory means in writing as well as in pronunciation, it has no value, at avagraha chinnam. So we can just write it like this, kshetrajño kshara eva cha. While pronouncing also it comes out like that, kshetrajño kshara eva cha. So here we can split it like this, kshetrajño kshara, right? Or in that case, kshetrajño kshara, kshetrajño, we know that it is kshetrajñah. But what about kshara? It can be split as kshara also, it can be split as akshara also. Right? So where we split, how we split also is important. To understand the meaning correctly. With that background, idanim kim kurmah? Although Sanskrita bhashayam अक्षराणां विषये किंचित चर्चां कुर्मः. अक्षराणि कति सन्ति, अक्षरस्य अर्थः कः, स्वराः कति सन्ति, व्यञ्जनानि कति सन्ति, तेषां परिचयः अत्यावश्यकः भवति. So Sandhi, note that Sandhi, why are we studying this Sandhi? Like, what is the, how many Sandhis are there, what are there? Is it difficult to study Sandhi? So some of you may be already familiar with the Sandhis in Sanskritam, at least at the higher level. Sthula rupena yatha for example, if I write the word or the one we saw just now, Vishwam Vishnurvashatkaro, atra Vishnurvashatkaro, atra padam पृथक पदम कुर्मश्चेत् कथं भवति पदच्छेदनं वसुमती भगिनी.
विष्णुः वषट्कारः.
विष्णुः वषट्कारः.
हाँ, विष्णुः वषट्कारः. तो इदानीं प्रश्नः उद्भवति, विष्णुर्वषट्कारः इति किमर्थं abhavat tasya rupa parivartanam. So Vishnu and Vashatkara. So it should be like this. So we can say Vishvam Vishnu Vashatkara Bhutavavya Bhavatpraho. So actually it should be like this. Tada tasya parivartanam evam rupa parivartanam evam kimartham abhavat. What is the reason? Why did it become like this? Vishnur Vashatkaro. Why did it become like this? Because of
Sandhi.
Sandhi. Sandhi. Which Sandhi?
Visargalopah, Vishnur, Repa.
Visarga Sandhi. Because there is Visarga Sandhi means there is a Visarga here. We will see what is a Visarga in a bit. So that is changing to, this is changing to Vishnur. That Visarga is changing to Vishnur. Right? Then Vishnur Vashatkara. Why did it change? The question is why? Because of the rule, Sandhi rule.
Because they to match the below line, because there are three words.
I mean the second line.
Yeah, second line has a 3 word. The other line also has a 3 word to match the number of words used in sloka.
Yeah, very interesting observation. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other sentence has 5 on second, and then the third one has a 4 words in each.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a good observation, but the Sandhi is not dependent on that. No, Sandhi is not based on the word count. So generally, when we study Sandhis, the approach is like, okay, we just list out what types of Sandhis are there in the book. There are many books on Sandhis, and also there is this Vyakarana book, which is that Ashtadhyayi, Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi, etc. So in that, so the students who are studying Sandhis, they take up that and then they go through the rules. So this is a rule for this. So one is called Visarga Sandhi. What are the rules? Okay, so if these two, if there is a Visarga like this, and
because of continuity of chanting.
Right. But the question is, why does it change it to Ra here? Visarga changing to Ra. Yeah, the continuity of chanting. Yes, that is one condition. Why does this Visarga change to Refa? Refa means Rakara, Ra. So these kind of things generally are studied academically. Lakshmi Kadmodi, you have to say anything? Do you want to say anything? So academically they are studied in the sense, usually it's in the syllabus, take a book and then go through the rules. No. So when we come across these words like this, Vishnu plus Vashatkara, so we look at the rules and does this match the conditions of all the rules? So there is a Visarga, after that there is a Va, so the Visarga changes to Ra. So that is the academic approach. And we need to remember all those rules if you want to understand the Sandhis. For example, if you take here, Kshetrajño Akshara Evacha, so here also there is Aksharaha, there is a Visarga there, Aksharaha, and there is a Veva. So, but because of the Sandhi rules, this Visarga is removed, okay? It goes away, and just the Ra remains there, Viksha Akshara Eva. But if you see this one, Purusha Sakshi, here there is a Visarga is not gone. because the Sandhi rules, the Visarga is retained there, doesn't go away. It, Purusha Sakshi remains there, but here Akshara Eva Visarga is removed there. So why? Because we need to understand the Sandhi rules, remember them. So this is one approach. Yeah, it is good to know the rules formally. However, the Sandhi, if we just based on the rules, if after studying the rules, if you are going to apply the rules and then figure out whether they should be Visarga or not Visarga, not only Visarga, any other thing like else, for example, what other type of change you see here somewhere. Most of them are Visarga here. Here, for example, Sarveshwara. Here there is also Sarva Ishvara. Ajas Sarveshwara Siddha. Sarva Ishvara. That changing to Sarveshwara. So what is the rule there? Sarva is there, Ishvara is there. So together it becomes Sarveshwara. So how do we know? So we again go back to Sandhi rules, list of Sandhi rules. And then E, because E is there, it changes to A. Sarveshwara. We can apply that rule and then we come to know. If this is the only approach, then the Sandhi becomes artificial, right? It's an artificial construct. It is not necessary to apply in the Bhasha, in the language. So we can just keep it Sarva Ishvara or the other places also, like Ahas Samvatsaro Vyalaha. So there also we can say Ahas Samvatsara Vyalaha. But again, if you look at Sandhi rules, it says make it Samvatsaro Vyalaha. So then it becomes artificially we are forcing it to change the word there. But remember, the Sandhis are not artificial. These are natural. These are natural. Why? We'll come to that. If you understand the basics, this concept that Sandhis are natural, then the rules becomes supplementary. Rules are secondary. Understand the rules it helps, but understand the concept that the Sandhis are natural is important. So why are they natural? We'll see that. For that, we need to understand the Sanskrita Bhashaya Varnaha to Aksharani. This is important. The whole thing, the entire Sanskrita Bhasha depends on the Ucharanam. Ucharanam or pronunciation. And pronunciation is supposed to be natural, right? Because we all speak. Natural in the sense we have, all of us have this natural organ of speaking, that the mouth area, the oral cavity, and we have the vocal cords, and we have the tongue, and the air passages in the vocal area. So like the mouth area as well as the nose. So these all help in producing the sounds through the mouth. So that is natural. Production of sound is natural. How many sounds we can produce? We can produce infinite number of sounds, in theory at least. We have a lot of frequency, a lot of ways to pronounce. However, in Sanskrita Bhasha, when it comes to Bhasha, we want to limit those sounds. In the language, we want to limit the sounds to make it standardized, so that each other we can understand what this kind of sound can be used in the language to form a word. This is different from languages like English. For example, English also, everybody speaking anything has to make a sound, but the way it is pronounced, a certain sound is pronounced, a letter is pronounced in English can vary from person to person or region to region. Right? So English spoken in say in UK or America or Russia, so those, or in India, those could be, the way it is pronounced varies. But in Sanskrita Bhasha, these are standardized. They say these are well defined, how a aksharam or varnaha should be pronounced. Taking a step back, I always want to remind and be aware that Sanskritam itself means it is processed, well defined, properly defined or properly processed, standardized. That is the name of the language. It's not just a random collection of words for different things. So this is the language which is aptly named. It has not been named based on certain region, certain community. Its name is Sanskritam, and it deserves that kind of respect, that language. So when we say, suppose when you say like clean air, for example, right? So this is a clean air. So we are giving it special status. It's not any air. It is clean air. And it has to be kept like that, clean. So here, Sanskritam language, in that the aksharam or the varnaha, these are well defined. How they have to be pronounced, where they have to be, where is the location or sthanam in the mouth or vocal cavity, where are they? How much effort has to be put so that they are defined. Now since again we are all different, they are well defined means they are not defined like this much frequency, 50 Hertz, 20 Hertz, but they are relatively defined, relatively well defined. Now the first question could come here, what is the difference between aksharam and varnaha? Many times we hear varnaha and aksharam. What is the difference? We'll see a little bit. Now let's start with, most of you are familiar with this chart, right? Aksharamala. Atra aksharanam ganaha santi swaraha vyanjanani तथा अनुस्वार विसर्ग इति वर्णद्वयम् तत् पृथक् उच्यते तत्र अनुस्वार विसर्ग स्वराः कति सन्ति स्वराः इत्युक्ते we know in English they are known as vowels. Swaraha which can be pronounced swayam swatantreణ उच्चारणम् अर्हन्ति इति स्वराः स्वयं राजन्ते इति स्वराः Kati santi Sanskrita bhashayam. Sanskrita bhasha, we are again underlining here Sanskrita bhashayam. Now, in theory, as I said, infinite number of sounds these can be pronounced, like I can say a, e, o, a, anything. I can twist my tongue and mouth shape and everything. I can produce infinite number of these sounds. However, in the words which are used in the Sanskrit language, they have to be finite. They are finitely identified and recognized and put them in this list. Okay. So swaraha. स्वराः कति सन्ति? शीला भगिनी, अत्र स्वराः शीला भगिनी पठतु एकवारं।
अ आ इ उ रि ऋ ए ऐ ओ औ अः।
अम्मः कुत्र अस्ति?
अनुस्वारविसर्गः महोदय।
तत् स्वरा नास्ति, अनुस्वारविसर्गः स्वरा न, केवलम् अकारादारभ्य औकारपर्यन्तमेव। So few things one should know. So I keep on saying this kara kara. When I say akara, 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 ikara, ikara, aukara. So this kara, one should, this is just a convention used in the while discussing the sounds in Sanskrit Bhasha. Akara means a sound. Akara means a sound. Aukara means au sound. This kara means sound. Just remember that, sound. That is one technical term, kara. Okay. Now, another thing to be aware that Bhasha means speech, spoken thing. Bhasha. Sanskrit Bhasha means what? Sanskritam, which is spoken. Or Sanskritam meaning you know already. The Sanskritam which is spoken.
Sound is dhvani. We should translate as dhvani.
Dhvani. That is spoken, right? So we have a kriyapadam, Sanskrit Bhashayam, the kriyapadam asti bhash, right? Bhash, bhashate, bhashete, bhashante, we know. So bhashate means what? He speaks or she speaks. Bhashate, bhashete, bhashante, they speak. So tatah eva bhasha iti padasya nirmanam asti. Bhasha, bhasha means the one which is spoken. Sanskrita bhasha, the one which is well defined and well processed, and it's the well processed which is spoken. That is the literal meaning. So that means what about the writing? Bhasha is like speaking. What about writing? Sanskrita Bhasha, here the main medium of communication, of transferring knowledge between two individuals, is speech. That is why it is named as Bhasha. It's a medium of communication. Is primarily speech, and that's how we transfer the knowledge between individuals, different people. But as a secondary, to supplement that, writing can also be used. Now, whatever is spoken, that we are going to write, that we are going to represent in the written format or the script, is just a combination of some lines. Some chihnam, lingam, chihnam, sanketah. Bhashayaha sanketah yat vayam vadamaha, yat vayam भाषामहे तदेव वदामः, तस्य एव लेखनं भवति, लिपिरूपेण तस्य एव उपस्थापनं भवति, तदा तस्य लेखनम् इत्युच्यते. So what we actually speak is the writing. It has to be represented in the writing, not the other way. Now because I am not in front of you, that's why we are using this paper here, or this computer on the screen. We are showing the letter. So you know when I say what I am referring to. Suppose if I am not speaking, then you may not understand what I want to say. You won't understand. So that's why we have these books and other things, papers, where we write and then pass on the paper to other person, so that they can look at it and understand what we are trying to speak or transfer the knowledge. So our speech itself is being converted into or encoded into these different symbols, and they are being transmitted through the lipi, lekhanam. This is an important concept for many languages, including Sanskritam, which are based purely on phonetics, unlike some languages like English or even Chinese and all those. Those are not phonetics languages. They, especially English, if I write this A, that pronunciation can be different, right? It can be pronounced as A, O, anything. Similarly, other letters also can be pronounced in different ways, which is a different approach. But in Sanskritam, first comes the Bhasha. Bhashanam prathamam, anantaram lipihi. Lipihi is nothing but a representation of Bhasha. In the Swara, atra trayodasha swaraha darshitaha santi. Trayodasha swaraha. So a, I, u, ru, e, I, o. Iti trayodasha swaraha santi. So again, we are not going into depth of what these swaras are there, vyanjanas are there in depth in this course. I had a different Shiksha course, Shiksha is phonetics course previously. If you would like to watch that recording, you can watch it on YouTube. But here just a sthula rupena atra parichayam karayami. Akaraha, akaraha, ikaraha, ikara. So you know that a, I, u. What is the difference between and a? Akaraha.
Position.
No, rasva dirgha. तस्य उच्चारणकालः भिन्नः भवति. उच्चारणकालः
मात्रा महोदय.
मात्रा उच्चारणकालः एकमात्रा अकारस्य आकारस्य मात्राद्वयम् अस्ति. तत्र द्विमात्रा means double the time needed to pronounce a, we need to pronounce a. So what is the time needed to pronounce for a? Ekamatra kala. Ekamatra means what? Is it 1 second, 2 seconds, 5 seconds? It's a relative. So so only how we pronounce in the akara when we say Ganesha or Akshara, Ganapati, Rama. So where we say there, sound is heard there. How much time we generally take? Again, if we are singing or some special way you want to pronounce special case, that is different. But samanyatah kaha kala avashaka tat ekamatra. Ekamatra, if we actually measure, it comes to like little less than a second. Akara. Then double that is akara. And what is the shape of the how much the mouth has to be opened, that also changes here. More mouth has to be widened there. Then e, so here also e, u, e. The matra kala is double for e, u. Matra kala double for u compared to u. So here also note that how they have to be pronounced is very important here for Sandhi. Otherwise the Sandhi, that base itself is not good enough. The Sandhi foundation, we need to understand this and get this correct, the pronunciation part. So how to pronounce? Generally, I will say here, I will talk about it, but again not in detail. Ru, ru, not re. Re is different. It's ru, ru. So note that swara means swara ityukte kim tatra. Okay, let's go back to this diagram, this picture. So here, esha juhva asti, rasanendriyam, juhva, tongue part. This tongue has to move. It has to maneuver inside the mouth to produce different sounds, whether it is a swara or vyanjanam. So this is a very important part. Juhva plays a very important part. So depending on what we want to pronounce, what will happen? It will constrict the air at different degrees. Right? Constrict the air different degrees for swaras and vyanjanam, consonants and vowels, vowels and consonants. So for the vowels, why are they called swara? There is no sparsha or touch of jihva inside the mouth at any place. Whereas for vyanjanam, there is a sparsha or touch of jihva inside the mouth at different places. But for swara, there is no touch. So if you remember this, it becomes easier to understand the pronunciation. So for ru, ru, ru. So when we say re, then there is a touch. That tip of the tongue is, when you say re, 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 it's almost touching. There is a little touch, but there is a touch when you say re. Where is the re here? It's a here. Ra, which is represented as one of the vyanjanam. Ekam vyanjanam. Vyanjanaksharam asti tat. Ra iti. So when we say re, that is a vyanjanam. So we don't want to pronounce this in the same way. This sound has to be pronounced with no touch again, like re, re, re. So when we say rishi, 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 so that rishi is different, rishi is different. So rishi. So similarly, there is a dirgha kara.
There is slight movement of tongue, though it is not touching.
Yeah, movement is there. Movement is different, but touch is different. There is no touch. We'll quickly look at the sthanam also, because sthanam is also important. To understand the sandhi, we need to understand the sthanam also. Then there is a rukara. Then there is a, this one is ru. It's not re. It is not re or re. This is not re. This is not. Also, this is not combination of la and this ru. Okay. This is not a combination of la and this la. Where is la here? La and this ru. This is an independent swara, separate swara, which has no element of ra. There is no ra in it, or there is no ru in it. So it is just, there is an element of la in it. There is an element of la, but there is no touch. When we say la, this la, vyanjana la, there is a touch la. But in this, when we say ru, there is no touch, but there is an element of la. Element means the tongue is trying to say la, but there is no touch. So why is it written like this? This is just a lipi. You can invent your own lipi. I want to write it like this. Whatever, fine. I want to write it like this. So Devanagari, you can make your own lipi. So this is confusing. This is creating confusion. Writing this like this. A lot of people think that it is a combination of la and r or la and r. It is not. So do not pronounce it as ri. Then a, I, o, au. These are simple. तथैव अत्र व्यञ्जनानि सन्ति ग ख ग घ ङ च छ ज झ ञ ट ठ ड ढ ण त थ द ध न प फ ब भ म य र ल व श ष स ह इति कति व्यञ्जनानि अत्र प्रथमभागे प्रथमगणे 25 व्यञ्जनानि द्वितीयभागः अस्ति अष्ट व्यञ्जनानि आहत्य टुगेदर संहत्य कति व्यञ्जनानि टोटल
33
व्यञ्जनानि 33 व्यञ्जनानि So let's quickly look at the sthanam also. What are the sthanam? So where are these pronouns? What the position of these letters? Position means where they should be touching here. So first thing is that swaraha, swaranam uchcharana samaye sparshanam na bhavati jihvayaha sparshanam kutrapi na bhavet. Na bhavet. It should not happen. Swaranam uchcharana kale jihvayaha sparshanam mukha bhage kutrapi na bhavati. That is number one. व्यंजनानाम उच्चारण काले किम भवति? So first is ka kha ga gha nga. What are these positions? What happens when you say ka kha ga gha nga? Most of you already know. I think all of you know this. Ka kha ga gha nga uccharan kale jihvamulasya, jihvamula, the root of the tongue, touches the, it says hanumula, like a back of the, deep in the throat actually. So hanumala, if you try to slow motion, like open your mouth quite, when you say want to say kha, when you widen the, just to experience it, if you widen the mouth vertically and try to say ka, ka, you can notice that back, the deep back of your tongue, it is touching the back, again back side and upper part there of your what do you call the upper jaw. Yeah. Okay. So same thing happening with this series here. Ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. That's it. So the touch is at the same level, same place, back of the tongue, back upper part of your upper surface of inside of your mouth, right? So there you experience that. Then this position is same, but what is difference? What is the other difference? How do we differentiate between ka, kha, ga, gha, nga? What is the difference? Position is same, that is understood. Back of the tongue touching back of the jaw. No. But the difference between ka, kha is ka has a lesser, when you say ka, has a lesser breath in it, less energy. Kha needs more energy. Kha, ka, kha. Similarly, ga, gha, ga, less energy, gha, more energy. Right? So this is natural, right? Because if we know how to pronounce a word in Sanskritam, which in the olden days it was natural, people were easily speaking Sanskritam words. So they knew when we say this requires less energy, this requires more energy. If we are only alien to this language or any language, then we need to formally understand what is what. So this is all natural. This is no need for like a book for this. Ka, kha, more energy. Ga, gha, more energy. Nga, what? Nga, do we need more energy?
No.
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 No. No, we don't need more energy. So this is the natural way we need to understand. Ga, kha, ga, gha, nga. Ka, less energy, ga, less energy, nga, less energy. Kha, gha, more energy. So we name it. Less energy, we name it alpa prana. Prana represents energy or breath or energy. Right? Ka, ka, less energy. Kha, more energy. Mahaprana. Maha means more. Mahaprana. Ga, alpa prana. Nga, alpa prana. Kha, mahaprana. Gha, mahaprana. So we can, when we are pronouncing, we can, with this logic, we can classify, give this name. So, okay, this is less energy, more energy, less energy, more energy. And this is touching this at Hanumula and with the Jufa Mula. Similarly, when I say cha, cha, ja, cha, ya, so they are talu. Talu means the palate. And Jufa Mudya. Karana, so one, Karana means instrument. Remember the instrument or the actuator, you can say actuator. That is going to touch the sthana or location in the mouth. So you go to this talu. So cha, cha, ja, cha, ya, we are saying that talu is a sthanam and karanam is jifa madhya. So what does that mean? This is the talu part. Cha, cha, ja, cha, ya. So cha, cha, ja, cha, ya. And that is the talu. Sthanam means where the sthanam means what? Position means what? Position where the touch of the tongue should happen. That is the sthanam. Position where the touch of the tongue should happen when pronouncing that sound. So I am going to avoid saying letter. Letter is maybe misleading. Letter means something which is written. I am going to say sound. Sound is pronunciation, bhasha. When we want to pronounce that sound, this is where the touch happens. When you say cha, cha, ja, cha, ya. And which part of the tongue is touching? That is karanam. Which part is touching? The madhya bhaga, this part. This part is touching here. So this is how we understand. But when you are looking at the chart, if we, where is the chart? If we come up with a different logic, no, I am touching this part of the tongue to here somewhere to say cha, or here somewhere to say cha, then your pronunciation is not correct. Then we will have to refer to the book. We will have to come up with this logic and compare it with the Sanskrita Vyakaranam or Shiksha Pustakam Grantha. Then we have to compare. No, is it correct? No, it's not correct. Refer to a good book, good source. Then that is not correct. So then you have to, in the pronunciation, you will have to change it. Pronunciation, change it. If especially for foreign language speakers, or if you are used to speaking English or foreign language, then these corrections are needed to get it right. So this one, Kantha was the first position, Karanam was Juhva Moolam. So this part, Juhva Moolam, Ka, touching here, Ka, Kha, Ga, Gha, Nga, touching here. For the second line, Cha, Cha, Ja, Cha, Ya, you are touching this part to this part. So etat sthanam asti, etat karanam asti. Now the next line of Vyanjanam, iti ta tha da dhana atra murdha iti sthanam karanam pariveshtata juhvagrah. Pariveshtata juhvagrah means what?
Around that area.
Murdha is the iti sthanam. Murdha is atra is called crown. Now here many people are nowadays getting confused. It's not expected, but anyway. So this murdha is getting confused because of the word murdha. Murdha, they literally, if you look at the dictionary, it means shiraha. Shiraha. Shiraha means the head, top. So with that, they think that it is here. It is here, which is not correct. I'll give you the reason later. The murdha is somewhere in this part. Ta. Ta. So then the karanam, this is the sthanam where the tongue should touch. This is the just hard part of your upper area of the palate, just behind that hard part where it curves, and the upper part. And then what is the karanam? What part of juhva should touch there? What part of juhva should touch there? Pariveshtata juhvagra. Juhvagra means, agra means end, the tip. Juhvagra means tip of the tongue. Pariveshtata. Pariveshtata means curled, rounded or curled. Curled means, so this juhvagra tip should be curled back here. It should be pulled back, and the back of your tip is going to touch it, not the front of your tip of the tongue, back of the tip. Ta, ta, tha, da, dha, na. So all of them, same position, same karanam. And the next one is dantamola sthanam karanam is juhvagram. Ta, tha, da, dha, na. Ta, tha, da, dha, na. So dantamola is the sthanam. Right? Dantamola is the where the root of your teeth. Now, the Vyakarana Pustakam or Shiksha Pustakam, they define it as Dantamola. So generally they call it Dantamola. Now, we should not literally make it and then think that any root of any teeth is okay. Root or back, where the tooth joins the mouth inside, the back part of the tooth. So there on the back side of the front teeth, upper teeth, there we'll have to touch the tip of the tongue. Juhvagra is the karanam. So how to interpret this Vyakarana Pustakam, Sanskrita Vyakarana Pustakam? Dantamola, they say Dantamola. Which Dantamola? We have got mostly 32. Most of us have 32 teeth. And then 32 teeth, which teeth we have to refer to? Can I use the lower teeth to pronounce it? Can I use the back teeth to pronounce it? No. The Vyakarana books are not going to go to that level. You have to use the top of the front teeth, back side. because that is naturally understood. That is the basic thing. So dantamula. Then the next is next line we have is in the Vyanjanam, we have Oshtha, pa pha ba bha ma. Last line, pa pha ba bha ma in this category. Pa, pha, ba. So what is the sthanam karanam? Oshtha is a sthanam. Oshtha itself is the karanam. So there is no juffa involved here. There is no part of tongue. What happens here? Pa pha ba bha ma. In this case, we are using these two lips, upper lip and lower lip. So upper lip is a sthanam because the lower part is the moving part. The upper part of us doesn't move, right? It's stationary, and this one moves up and down. So karanam asti lower lip, and sthanam is upper lip for the last line. Pa pha ba bha ma. Again, the difference between these columns remains same. That is alpa prana mahaprana, alpa prana mahaprana, alpa prana mahaprana. So this one is mahaprana. So that remains same. This we'll see later, last column. But this.
So uchar is not correct. It should be chak.
Yeah. In Sanskritam, Sanskritam it is cha, ja. I know it's Marathi is a little bit different. It is sa, ja. Right? That's a bit different. But yeah, Sanskritam we use the middle part of the tongue to little bit back side of the upper palate. Marathi comes to the front part. Okay. That is why when I say, because I'm not used to, I'm not a native speaker of Marathi, right? So when I say Jevan, I say Jevan, but you say Jevan. There's a difference. So in my house also, a lot of time people laugh at me when I say Jevan.
We say Jevan. It should be Jevan.
No. In Marathi it is correct, but I'm saying Marathi it is different. Marathi, that pronunciation in Marathi, whatever you have, Gujarati, Nepali, Bengali, that Tamil, Telugu, those you pronounce the way you pronounce in that language. Don't use this guideline. This guideline is for Sanskrit Bhasha. Sanskrit Ucharanam.
Bhojanam, we should talk at Bhojanam.
Bhojanam. Bhoja Raja.
Bhoja.
Not Raja, not Raja. So here, so alpa prana mahaprana, alpa prana mahaprana, alpa prana, that we saw. And okay, so now again we will have to distinguish, right? Now ka and ga, these two are alpa prana. They have the same sthanam and karanam. Now what else is the difference between these two? If everything is same, then the pronunciation would have been same. Parantu bhinnata tu shruyate. So again, we have to emphasize on shravanam, not lekhanam. Shravanam, bhinnata, shravane, shabde, ucharane tu shruyate. So, ka bhinnata atra ka ga. एतयोः उच्चारणसमये को भेदः अत्र स्थानं तु हनुमूलं समानं करणमपि समानं प्राणः अपि समानः तदा भेदः कः अत्र so what is the difference you experience when you say ka and ga?
For ga, you open your mouth more. K, ga.
Yeah, ka, ga. Ka, ga. What about kha, gha?
More emphasize. Ka, ga.
Both are Mahaprana, but what is the difference now? You take anyone. For example, maybe the better one could be like these ones. Ta, da, pa, ba. Ta, da, pa, ba.
Air restriction.
Huh?
Air quantity or air restriction. Vayu.
Yeah. So, both, for example, if you say ta, da, ta, ta, da, ta, da. So, if you notice, we'll have to do it many times. Then, because we are so used to it, we may not easily notice it. But you keep on saying it, then think what could be the difference. So, then, if you minutely notice, you understand that ta, ta, da, ta, da. So when you notice that, when you say ta, ta, the, when you say ta, it is like a muted. The is like it has a resonance in it, vibrations. Ta, the. So that is the difference between this first and the third column, second and the fourth column. Everything else is same, right? Between first and third, Anumola, Jivamola, and this also Alpa Prana, Alpa Prana. So there has to be some difference because the sounds are different. K, g. The difference is when I say k, it's mute. It's like I'm sitting on the table here. When I hit this my finger to the wood here, it's like a muted sound. So it doesn't produce those air waves, vibrations. So it's like absorbing the wave. But when I say g, it's like a ghantana. G. So this you can experience by putting your, how can I experience? Put your fingers, your hand around your neck, front side, loosely. And then try to say g. Then you can experience it better. Maybe I think you can close your ears also. G. Yeah, close your ears. You can say g. You see that difference. G. G doesn't produce that vibrations. G produces that vibration. Same thing with k. G. K. G. From your throat part there, vibrations, they emerge. K. G. Like bell. Okay. So those are the differences between these uchcharan columns. That's why these are arranged like this. The different letters here, sounds are arranged like this in the Sanskrita Aksharamala or Varnamala with the logical reasoning. One is the sthanam. Based on the sthanam, their rows are arranged in rows. Sthanam and karanam. Basically sthanam, right? Sthanam, we have Hanumola, different sthanam, and the sthanam also arranged logically from back to front. Start with the Hanumola, then Talu, then Murtha, then Tamola, and then Oshtha. Then back to front side, logically progression, and then Tadanantaram Kim Bhavati iti Varnanam Vyanjananam Pankti Yojanam. What about this? Stambha. Stambha is one is Alpa Prana Mahaprana Tadanusaram Bhedaha. अनन्तरं तस्यामपि तत्रापि कथं भेदः नादः अथवा घोषः इति Nada means vibration. What vibration is heard? Like where is the vibration heard? Ga and gha. These two vibrations are heard. So they are classified as nada in Sanskritam. Nada means vibration is coming there. Ga gha. Whereas ka kha, there is no nada. There is like a breath. So breath, just a muted breath is there. Ka kha. So this breath classification, these are called ghosha. This is an effort. This kind of effort we put to pronounce. What kind of effort is there? One kind of effort is, these are the sthana karana, that is not effort. That is the sthanam, and sthanam means location, position in the mouth, and karanam is what part of jihva or what we are using to touch that sthanam. This is karanam. This is not effort. This is the actual instruments we are using. Like we are hitting the drum with a stick. So this is like a stick, and this is where at the drum we are hitting, and how we are hitting. This is how they are put in the columns. One kind of effort is alpa prana mahaprana. Based on that, first two are alpa prana, and these three are mahaprana. Right? Now this is what alpa prana. Last one is alpa prana. Right? Then what is the other way of other kind of effort we are putting? One is prana is like strength, mahaprana, alpa prana. The other kind of effort is nada and ghosha. Ghosha is breath, just the breath. There is no vibration. Nada, there is vibration. Where is the effort of breath here? Kakha. These two are ghosha. Effort is needed. And here, these three, nada effort is needed. When you say ga, gha, nga, again you can feel that vibration. So these are the basic way how the sounds are arranged in the Sanskrita Varnamala. What about the yara lavaha? These 25 which are in this, these are fine. What about yara lava and shashasaha? Yara lava shashasaha. What about this? These are also, they need effort. That is what they are shown here. So when they have the sthana karanam also, sthanam and karanam. Ha has the hanumala where the ka. So this also comes from the behind. Ha. Now juha mola karan is not actually touching here. There is no touch for her, but there is a lot of breath is there. It's also mahaprana, a lot of breath, and there is a vibration when you say ha. Nada is there. Then ya comes in this. Ya and sha, both. The sthanam and karanam is similar, but because obviously the sounds are different, something has to be different, right? Ya and sha. What is the difference? Ya and sha. What is the difference? Do we all agree that when we say ya and sha, do we use talu and juha madhya? Like cha, cha, ja, cha, ya. Do we use talu and juha madhya? Cha. Cha. Cha, ja. What about ya? What about ya?
Danta.
No, there is not danta. There's a classified here. It's under talu juha madhya only. So what is the difference between pronunciation?
Is approaching talu.
Yeah.
But it is not touching.
So there is so here I have not shown the classification or the sthanam of swara. So E is also talu. Now swaras also have some sthanam, like if you look at a, e, u, this one also. So all are no sparsha. Swaras no sparsha, no touch at all. But and a, they have some sthanam, they have the kantha. Then kantha means so because there is no movement of tongue at all, coming from the kantha itself. Then e. So here there is some movement of tongue. So this is also approaching talu. E, when you say e, the tongue this part, the top part moves towards it, approaches it, but it doesn't touch e. So we have, if you remember the okay, let's go back to this e. So we have e also falling here, and cha also falling in this, cha falling in this, cha, ya, sha falling with the same sthanam, same karanam. Now we'll have to identify what is the difference between these. Cha, cha, ja, cha, ya, we know that there is a sparsha. Yeah? When you say cha, cha, ja, cha, nya, there is a sparsha. When we say e, there is no sparsha. E. But there is the top part of the tongue moves towards the talu, but there is a lot of gap. But what about ya and sha? What do you notice when you say ya? Ya. What is the difference between when you say e and ya?
There is a change in the gap. Right?
Change in the gap. Like change in the gap. So for e, there is a lot of gap. When you say e, the tongue is almost at the bottom surface. It's a little bit moves up, but still closer to bottom. So from bottom surface. But when you say yeah, it moves up. It's actually there's a little bit touch there. There's little gap. But sha, what happens sha?
She is also.
It's almost touching.
Almost touching.
Yes. Ushma.
Almost touching means there is almost a friction there. There is like a friction. Whereas here there is no friction, there is some more gap. Here almost touch. So there is a difference, but though the sthanam and karanam are the same, we use the same. Sthanam means the where the air is contracted, that place remains same, but with what we are contracting, that air also remains same. But for these cha, cha, ja, ja, ya, we are actually closing the gap. The juffa madhya hits that place of talu, but for e, ya, sha, it doesn't actually completely hit. If e, there is a lot of gap, yeah, there is a little gap, sha, there is almost no gap. So the same rule, same guidelines.
In case of the touch is very light.
Yeah.
Touch is very light.
Yeah. Yes. So the same similar guidelines applies for this rasha also. You say murtha. Remember, this also you should understand clearly what is the difference between sh and sha. The sound sh, shankara, okay, shankara, sha, and shanmukha, sha. What is the difference? Sha. Now we should not make any mistake in pronunciation, because here we are learning the sthanam and karanam clearly. Sha sthanam is talu with the juffa madhya. Sha. Juffa madhya talu, and your tongue remains what? Almost like this straight only. Sh. Okay? The air is coming out like this. But when you say Shanmukha, we say Sh is Murdha. Murdha Sthanam and Jufa Pariveshtita Jufagra Karanam. Right? So this is turning back Sh. Ta, like saying Ta. If you don't touch that Jufagra to the Karanam, Sh should be pronounced like that, just like a friction. Sh. Whereas Sh is different, Sh is different. Krishna, not Krishna. Krishna, Shankara, Krishna. A difference there.
In
Similarly with Sa also. Sa, Dantya. So here Dantamola. Remember, the Dantamola is here. So it's just like saying, what are the other Dantamola words, letters here? Sa, Tha, Da, Dha, Na. So just or La. La, Na, Na. So Na, where do we touch the Jufagra, tip of the tongue to the back of the front teeth, top teeth? Na. So similarly Sa also there, but now again, this is a friction. Sa, Sa, Sa there. So these three should be clearly distinguished. Sh, Sh, Sa. Now the last one to discuss here remains this column. Right? Okay, Jaya Mahodaya, what do we decide about, what do we discuss about these two columns? What is the difference or what is common and what is the difference between these columns?
Alpa Prana, Mahaprana.
These two are Alpa Prana. No, not that. These two are Alpa Prana and this one too. And these are Mahaprana. Right? Not that. These two. And what else? That is the difference in the effort. We're talking the effort. Right? Columns are differentiated by efforts. Now, this is Alpa Prana, Mahaprana. Then what is the other kind of difference? Effort?
Nada Gosha.
Nada Gosha. Which one are Gosha? Which one was Nada here?
The Ka would be Nada and Ga would be Gosha.
So Ka, Kha both are Nada. Sorry, Ka, Kha both are Gosha, breath. Then Ga, Gha, Nga, these three are Nada.
Nada.
Vibration. Now the question comes, if these three are Nada, then what is the difference again? These, see the Ga is also, we say it is Alpa Prana, Nga is also Alpa Prana, and Ga is also Nada, Nga is also Nada. Now what is the difference? So everything is common. Thana, Karana is common. This also Alpa Prana, and Nada is also common. Now what is the difference?
Nasal.
Nasal. So the Nakara, the last column, is a nasal column. Nasal, it's in Sanskritam, it is known as Anunasika. Okay. It is known as Anunasika. Anunasika means what? Just Nasika means what?
Nose.
Nose. And why are we adding Anu? Just Gachati means what? Gachati means go.
Go.
Anu Gachati means?
Follow.
Gachati
is follow.
Follows. Anu. So similarly here, Nasika is nose. Anunasika means follows nose or with the help of nose. So this one, last column, nga, for example, nga, sthanam karanam samanam, yatha etesham asti, ka kha ga ga nga vat, anantaram tadapi alpa pranaha, nada प्रयत्नः आवश्यकः परन्तु भेदः अस्ति भेदः कः भेदः गकार ङकारयोः मध्ये भेदः ङकारः अनुनासिकः अनुनासिकवर्णः गकारः अनुनासिकः नास्ति so when we are saying ga nose should not be used. What does that mean, nose should not be used? And when we are saying nga, nose should be used. So what does that mean? You should be used means
the air flows part of air goes through nose.
Huh?
The breath, the air doesn't pass through the nose.
The breath or the air is always needed, right? The air when we are saying any letter, air is being pushed from inside us through the mouth cavity. It travels through mouth cavity in that path and it is thrown out. So when we say ga, the air does not pass. No amount of air should pass. Ideally, should pass through the nose cavity. Whereas when you say nga, what happens? What happens? What should happen? So when we say ga, the air is passing like this. This is ga. No. When we say nga, what should happen? Karta Mahoday?
When we say nga, while the air passing through the nose, the tongue touches the earth.
Yeah. So
The talu.
no, nga is not talu. Nga, cha cha ja, ya is talu. Ya is talu. Not nga. Nga is still Dvipamula. So, but air, note that air, it's anunasika, not only nasika. We are not saying nasika means only nose. Anunasika means with the help of nose. Just not pure nose. With the help of nose. This is important. Okay? Underline this. So, nga, while pronouncing that, air passes through this and this. Okay? And this. So, it is split. Nga, when you say nga, anunasika, it is just not nasika, anunasika. So this part, the air splits here. So some part goes like this, some part goes like this. So nga. So basically what that means, when we are pronouncing the last column, nga yana na ma, we have to keep this sthanam in mind, and of course karanam is also there, as well as we have to let the air through, part of the air through mouth, nose also. So if you close your nostrils or nose with your fingers, then you should be able to pronounce ka, kha, ga, gha, but not nga. Nga or this ya, na, ma cannot be pronounced by closing your nostrils. When I try to say nga, so
Difference, what is difference? Ghosh and Adar?
one sec. See this anunasika clear? So if I close my nostrils, we can still say ka, kha, ga, gha. But I can't say no. The nga won't come out because my nose is blocked. So nga, ya, na, ma, they are like that. Anunasika. Any question on Anuskanashka here?
Ghosha and Nada, what is?
What is the difference? Suresh Mode, what is the difference?
Nadam has got a vibration.
Ghosha is the effort, and Nada is the vibration that's caused.
Ghosha is like breath. Nada is like vibration.
Okay. Avishka, you want to explain?
Ghosha is...
No, the difference is not clear to me.
Gha, gha, like with the breath, the sound comes. So it's ghosha.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody want to continue that? Girija Bhagini or Sheila Bhagini? Nirmala Bhagini is also here.
When we pronounce ga, there is a vibration. There is a vibration. Ga, ga, ga. Ka is a breath, and then the effort also. How we say ka and how we say ga.
Yeah. So effort is needed anyway. Okay? Whether it is breath, whether it is vibration, effort is needed. So now how much effort and what kind of effort is needed, that is the way it is classified. For example, or categorized here. Ka, to pronounce ka and kha, we need more strength. Okay? So the one way of classifying this effort is needed. Okay, effort is needed anyway. So one way of classifying, let's say way 1, okay, or way number 1 of classifying the effort, we can say effort is of two types. One is alpa prana and mahaprana. Okay.
Mridu and Kadavara.
No. Don't go there yet.
Okay.
Don't introduce another variable. So alpa prana, mahaprana. So these are the two types of. These are the two ways. of using the strength. This is one way of saying that these vyanjanas, they require efforts. So which are the vyanjanas requiring less effort? Alpa prana, ka, ga, and nga, right? And which are the ones requiring more mahaprana kind of effort, more effort? Kha, gha. These are mahaprana. Is this clear, Avishka?
Yes.
Okay, this part is clear.
Yes.
Now, there is another way of classifying the effort also, or looking at the effort. This is one way of looking at the effort. How much strength is needed? Now, the another way of looking at the effort is whether when pronouncing that varna, does it produce a sound or vibration or not? Okay? Does it produce a vibration, or it is just like a muted breath comes out, okay, when we are pronouncing it? This is the second way of classifying the effort. So there are two ways of classifying the effort. Way one is alpa prana mahaprana, that you understood. Now another way is whether while pronouncing it, does it need like a breath kind of effort, like no nada comes out, no vibration. So if breath is coming out, no vibration is coming out, that kind of effort we call it ghosha. And then if the vibration comes out, that effort is called, or that effort is called nada. Nada prayatna. Effort is prayatna. Sanskrita prayatna, right? Effort. Ghosha and nada. So if you experience that, which are the ghosha and nada? Vibration is easy to understand, right? Vibration, for which letters vibration is coming out? Ga, gha, nga. You can surround your fingers around your neck, front part, and you can experience, or you can close your ears. Ga, gha, nga. So you can experience some kind of vibrations coming out compared to ka, kha. And if ka, kha, those kind of vibrations are like a bell not coming out, just the silent kind of waves coming. Ka, kha, muted. So they are ghosha. Ghosha pratna is involved. What we say is ghosha pratna is involved while pronouncing ka, kha. There is no vibration. And nada pratna is involved when we are pronouncing ga, gha, nga, or any these first two columns and the last three columns. Ja, jha, ya. Nada is there. Nada pratna is there. Nada is there. Is means what? Nada is coming out. That is why nada pratna is there. We are making that kind of effort to produce the vibrations when we are saying this, pronouncing this. Similarly, dadhana, nada pratna, dadhana, nada pratna, babhama, nada pratna. Whereas ka, kha, cha, cha, ta, tha, ta, tha, pa, pha, these are ghosha pratna. Okay? Is that better now?
Yes, thank you.
Varna is a bhasha, no? What is it? Talking, and akshara is a writing.
No. Akshara is not writing. Writing is lipi. Script is lipi. So this effort is clear. Effort and alpa prana, mahaprana, one way of looking at the effort, and ghosha nada is another way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Varna and akshara.
Varna and akshara is different. Varna is a sound. So those are represented like this, like so. Ka is a varna, a is a varna, kha is a varna. And what is akshara? Akshara you can think generally as a syllable.
All the letters can be called varnas.
Huh?
All the letters can be called varna.
Now when you say letter means what? Writing?
Say ka. Ka is a varna.
So what you are seeing here right now on the screen, they are varna, they are sounds. Okay? So now let me ask you one thing. So we are ran out of time already. But what is this? If anybody wants to leave, they are free to leave. Now this when I write this, let's say this is how I pronounce this. Can you pronounce? Anybody can somebody pronounce this? And then
I don't think we can pronounce it without the help of sorry.
So this cannot be pronounced actually. Whatever you say, however short you want to make it, you can't pronounce it because inherently the Vyanjanam or the consonants cannot be pronounced independently without the help of a swara. The swara you can add can be very short. Like when you say it's like a one matra. But when you want to say there is half matra or 1/4 matra of swara is already added there. So without that it can't come out by definition. So that sound which cannot come out, this is a varna. Okay? Without the help of the swara, it cannot come out. But there is a sound. We know that there is a ka sound. This is called varna, and this varna we are representing it like this with the in Devanagari. In different scripts are there. We can use any script. We can use transliteration of English, or we can use Telugu, Kannada, Marathi, Devanagari only. But any other Tamil, any other script we can use, and we can write this sound. I say ka, but we know that it can't be pronounced. So, but the sound exists. So this is varna. So if you look at this varna here, this chart, so is this Varnamala or Aksharamala? Question comes. Now all these swaras, they are varnas also and aksharas also, because they can be pronounced independently. But these ones cannot be pronounced independently. But the pure sound without that addition of the swara is called varna, that sound. So that's why when I say kakara, kakara, this is the k sound without adding the swara to it. If I add a swara to it, it becomes a syllable. That syllable is akshara. Akshara means syllable. But varna is the pure sound. The pure sound for a vyanjanam cannot be pronounced, but swaras they can be pronounced. So here we have the aksharamala here because these are syllables. These are not pure sounds because I am writing it like this. In the lipi I am representing it like this. So, but here this is Varnamala. Varnamala because we are representing pure sounds here without the addition of those swaras. But how do we say this now? I can't say independently. So how are you going to vyavahare? Day to day you say like we want to study Sandhi, we want to study Bhasha. How am I going to say that in front of the k sound, and then if some other sound comes, this is going to change it like this. How am I going to say every time? So for that we are using the technical term called kara, gakara or gakara, gakara or whatever. Another you can use. This means what kakara means? Ka sound without adding the swara. This is actually ka. And gakara means ga without adding the sound. Because we can't just pronounce ga, we say gakara just for ease of understanding. Okay? We don't want to say every time just for simplicity of usage, we instead of saying g, we say kakara, gakara. But for swaras, either we can say or we can say akara. Akara means sound of a can be pronounced independently also, but we can use akara also. Akara means sound of a. Okay, I think it's clear now. Otherwise, we can continue in the next class. If you have any questions, you can email me.
Sir, today we didn't discuss about the for Hari.
Huh?
We didn't discuss Hari. I didn't.